Well, at least I've came to the podcast this week a bit more prepared than last time, with no subjects to talk about. But at least with this week, I've got some very interesting ones to talk about. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Moor Army podcast for another week. Welcome back to the Tuesday's edition of the podcast, the family-friendly version, even though I'm going to try and bite my tongue today as much as possible. But welcome back to the Moor Army podcast. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all had a great weekend out there since I last spoke to you last Thursday. If you haven't checked out last Thursday's podcast, you can go back and check it out on Apple Music or iTunes, I like to still call it, on Spotify, or on the YouTube channel. So whatever platform you listen to is on now, you can go back and check out last week's episode. I would appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who downloaded and streamed the episode this past week. The numbers on Spotify especially are growing, which is great. So thank you very much for all the people who are listening to the Moor Army podcast every week. So thank you very much, guys, for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk a load of nonsense on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And get some things off my chest, especially the Thursday podcast, because a lot of you are still contacting me saying you prefer the Thursday podcast still, because I can still be more of myself. So on the Tuesday podcast, I've got more restraint. I have to be restrained more. Anyway, yes guys, good morning. I'm sitting here on this Tuesday morning recording the podcast, and a lot of you have been in touch with me over the last couple of days. Why has there been no vlogs as well? Guys, this past Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday have been non-stop, but we'll talk about that more shortly. But anyway, yes, welcome back to another episode. Hope we've all had a great weekend. I've met a lot of viewers over the weekend too as well. Some surprising viewers as well, which is kind of strange, but yeah, it's been a great weekend. So it has. I've thoroughly enjoyed this past weekend. Apart from the Liverpool result, obviously, because they're doing 0-0 with Chelsea, but we'll talk more about that shortly. We'll not talk about the Liverpool games. I don't even want to talk about it because it's heartbreaking even to watch. But anyway, yes, guys, as always, before I continue on with the podcast, I'd like to do the housekeeping. So if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're a regular listener, welcome back to the podcast. If you'd like to get in touch with us here at the Moor Army podcast, like a lot of you do every week, you can do it by the following methods. You can drop us an email at moorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. Contact me on the old social media. The Moor Army YouTube channel Facebook page, which is Moor Army YouTube on Facebook. And also the main one, which a lot of you always seem to contact me on more than anything, which is Instagram. Official Matthew Moore on Instagram. So if you want to contact me on there, you can. Or if you'd like to go and get yourself some merch, check out all the vlogs, go to the Moor Army Hub, as I like to call it, which I've got some news on that, by the way. You want to go over there, you can go to moorarmy.co.uk. That's moorarmy.co.uk. Over the weekend there, guys, I have now took full control over the Moor Army website. I had a guy who was helping me do it, but because of his work commitments, etc., he no longer can help build the Moor Army website, so I've had to take it over, which I'm going to be getting my hands into it this coming week. So hopefully by Thursday, guys, the Moor Army website will have a facelift, and it'll all be new and up to date and whatever else. So it's moorarmy.co.uk. You can get all your new merch and stuff like that there. Moor Army podcast merchandise, Moor Army YouTube channel merchandise, and much, much more. Anyway, what a weekend, guys. We've got some very interesting subjects to talk about first in just a moment. But I want to talk about my weekend. Wow, what a weekend it's been. Unfortunately, Liverpool didn't get the result against Chelsea. Brooke's boyfriend was actually at the game, his first Liverpool game at the weekend. Paul, you've seen pop up in my vlog a couple of times. He was at his first Liverpool game for the first time this past weekend. The Chelsea game in Anfield. What a game to go to, 0-0. Both teams missing a lot of players too, but I heard he had a good trip, so and he's home safe too as well. And Brooks obviously missed him. All I heard from her at the weekend was, "But I miss Paul, Daddy." It's like, Brooke, the guy needs a break from you. He needs to go and do his own thing with his friends. But apparently had a good trip. So, yeah, his first Liverpool game, so hope he enjoyed it. Football-wise for Lewis last weekend, what a weekend we had of football, guys. Wow, the Welders, oh, what a result. Beating Ballyclare 5-1 at home. What a performance, guys. Seriously, you need to go over to the Welders TV on YouTube, guys, and watch that game if you're a football fan. What a great game. Great goals. Our team's looking young, fresh, sharp, and it's looking good. And the new players have come in and they're settling in well, and the manager's doing a very good job at the minute. So, another big win at the weekend. Fantastic. And also, Lewis and I covered the under-21s game earlier on in the morning as well. And they won. They beat the league leaders 6-0 at home. I know, 6-0. They also have 4 games in hand on the first place team who they just beat at the weekend. They're now currently sitting second on the table with 4 games in hand, which is a great position to be in for the young lads. The Welders under-21 side is a fantastic young squad. Friend of ours who we travel to football sometimes with, Mark, who's the under-21s manager. He is a lovely guy and he's fantastic to Lewis now, and he would give us lifts to football and stuff like that, but he has them boys playing some fantastic football and they are playing amazing, and they're 4 games in hand, sitting second in the league. What a great position to be in to push for the league title this year, so fair play to them. But the first team as well, guys, 5-1. Now I want to apologise as well, guys, because there was a couple of young, I think they were viewers of the channel when I was up in the stand operating the TV camera and stuff like that there. They were shouting up, "There's Matthew, blah 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 blah," and they were looking and waving at me, but I was in the middle of working and filming the game and stuff like that there. So if any of those young viewers or listeners are listening to the podcast now, I want to apologise to them because I never got a chance to shout down to them hello back, so apologies for that. But what a great week of football, 2 great wins. What a fantastic night. It's great. And you can't ask for any more. So it was a really, really good weekend. And I met a lot of viewers over the weekend as well. I actually met a surprising viewer. Lewis and I come off the train there on Saturday night. We were coming through the bus station, or the train station. And long time ago, guys, I used to work for TransLink years ago in the local station here in Bangor. And there used to be a girl who used to work behind, I don't know why she still works in the office, I'm not too sure. She used to work behind the ticket office downstairs, and she came over to me, and she was lovely, Julie, you call her. I haven't seen her for years, and she came over and she just said, "Hello, how are you?" and started asking me for a selfie, and I'm going, okay. Apparently her kids love my YouTube videos, so big surprise that Julie and her family, her kids know, like or one of her daughters is 18, watches our videos religiously, so that was a bit of a strange one. She says, "Oh, you're doing well for yourself now," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing all right," and we had a bit of a catch up and stuff. So yeah, I haven't seen her for a long time. So it was great. Obviously, it's great going through there sometimes and still seeing some of the old staff that are still there. Whenever I used to work there back in the day, I left there in 2006, about a year or so after I got married. But yeah, it was great seeing her, and I met a lot of younger ones on the train as well coming back, and they all wanted selfies too. So anybody who came up to me on the train on Saturday and said hello and wanted pictures and whatever else, you're very welcome, and it was great meeting you all. And thank you for supporting the channel. Appreciate it. It was great to see you all. Just met, and even on Sunday and again yesterday too as well. It's just, I've met so many people over the last couple of days, guys. I've always said, if you see me in public, come up and say hello, because I like meeting you. I love meeting people. So it was great to obviously see you. So happy days. Anyway, moving on. Great weekend. Can't complain. So thanks for all your support, guys. Do appreciate it. It does obviously mean a lot to me, Lewis, Brooke, and my whole family. You are all so kind to us, and it's great to meet you all. Can't complain one bit. Anyway, moving on, guys. Got some really interesting subjects to talk about on the podcast today. I want to talk more about this balloon head, I call him, Andrew Tate. I'm also going to be talking about this recent madness in the States, in California, where we've actually had 3 mass shootings in the last 8 days. What is going on in California at the minute? It's insane. Also, for a lot of the older listeners out there, this is crazy. The state pension, apparently the state pension age, they're going to put the age up again in the next few days, and people are outraged about that. Also, the UK government, again, this other balloon head, Mr. Sajid Javid is now saying that people in the UK must pay to go and see their GP and also pay to go to accident and emergency or A&E at the hospital. Like, what is going on with these people? Like, seriously? Is the world going absolutely bloody mad? It is really seriously going bonkers. I just don't know. Absolutely insane. Plus, I got some of your questions I want to answer on the podcast today as well. So, maybe chat about a couple of other things as well before I head down the road today as well. But yes, I'm back for another week. I'm sitting here this morning, guys. I'm prepared. Just sat here this morning I had a pretty late night last night, guys. I'm actually recording this podcast as I look across at my clock here. 12:30 in the afternoon because I had a pretty late night last night. I sat up last night. I'm going to talk about another subject a lot of people probably won't listen to here on the podcast. I'll probably skip forward. As you all probably know, I'm a big wrestling fan. And last night was a big night in WWE where they had their 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. And I sat up last night as much as I could. So I wouldn't fall asleep. I watched maybe the majority of the show and then I eventually passed out. But it was great. It was a great show. Good to see some of the old legends back from the day. It was a great show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Expected to see a bit more obviously more big stars as well, but it didn't happen. But overall, it wasn't a bad show. And I'm looking forward to this Saturday night because another big event in WWE's calendar is the Royal Rumble. I've invited Tony around for that on Saturday night, and also Lewis and I are going to sit up there because Lewis is obviously off school the next day. It's going to be good because on Saturday we're home again on football on Saturday, so we can literally head back down the road again. I can come home and get the highlights all put up online, and then we can get ready to watch the Royal Rumble. One of my favourite events of the year. Love the Royal Rumble. This time next year, actually, we'll be getting prepared to go to America next year because Lewis and I are going to be heading to WrestleMania 40 next year. So we are. And we're also planning to go into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in the O2 Arena in London this coming July. We have our hotel booked. We're just waiting for our email for our pre-sale tickets to get our tickets for the show. As you all know, we were at the Clash at the Castle in Cardiff this past September. And I'm planning on taking Lewis to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in the O2 Arena in London coming up in July this year. So I'm looking forward to that. And then next year, we're actually heading to WWE in, is it April or May in Belfast as well. We've got good floor seats for that. So if you're at that show in the SSE Arena in Belfast, make sure you come over and say hello to us. And then we're heading to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia next year. So I've always wanted to try a Philadelphia cheesesteak. And I'm going to try one of it, hopefully over there when I get over there next year with Lewis. Get our visas and all sorted out, get Lewis's new passport sorted out. And we'll get ourselves all booked in for 2024 to WrestleMania 40, which I'm looking forward to. But anyway, away from that, I'm a bit tired this morning, but today I'm not too bad. I've had a couple of cups of coffee, a few things to do this morning on the laptop, got it all done out of the way, going to record this podcast, then I got a bit more work to do, and then later on this afternoon, I'm going to go around the house and do a few cleaning up jobs here around the house, whatever else, because yesterday I gave my living room a fresh coat of paint on the two walls and done all the skirting boards, the doors, whatever else, because we're going to get a new floor put in the living room. We're also hoping to get a new sofa, as you probably saw in the vlog last week. We're out sofa shopping, and we've also got brand new blinds coming in the next week or so all around the house as well. So just giving the house a wee bit of a clean up. Also, I'm going to be turning the downstairs room into a teenage room for whenever Brooke comes over with Paul and her friend Grace comes over and Lewis has a wee friend over, whatever, they can sit in that wee room in there and just sort of watch TV and chill out and watch movies, whatever else, not there. So that's a wee job to be done on down the road. Also, I got to fucking decorate Brooke and Lewis's bedroom because obviously they're complaining now because they're much older now and they want a more modern teenage room. So that's more work to be done over the next couple of weeks. So, but I'm looking forward to it, guys. It keeps me busy. You know what I mean? It just keeps me busy. And you know yourself, obviously, if you have your own home, you like to sort of give the wee fresh coat of paint here and there and tidy up here and there and whatever else. So it's just nice to obviously give the wee place a bit of a freshen up. Now, our sofa, it's fine, but starting to come towards the end, guys. It's not great, to be honest. And then the new floor as well. We're going to give it a new floor and freshen it up a wee bit and whatever else. So, yeah, just take a bit of time, but we're getting there, slowly but surely. Anyway, let's get on to the subjects at hand. Not me babbling on here for the first sort of 15-20 minutes of the podcast. Let's talk about this balloonhead Andrew Tate. In the news this morning again. Says the story I saw titled this morning read, Andrew Tate says he's being kept in a dark prison cell surrounded by cockroaches, lice and bed bugs. They're trying to break me. Now you all probably know he's in custody till February 27th. All this scandal going on at the minute with Andrew Tate, you know, about the trafficking and the drugs and all the other nonsense. And I think I actually made him. Did I make him 2 weeks ago, Jackass of the Week on the Thursday podcast? This guy is a bit of a moron, to be honest with you, and this is just my opinion on it. He's very egotistical, very up his own backside. He loves himself, and he thinks the world spins around him. And you know yourself, the people like that there always end up being a disaster. You see it all the time with celebrities and people who think they're invincible, they're bulletproof, and they end up collapsing around them, and sometimes, unfortunately, they end up dead or whatever else. But this guy, I mean, I'm going to read out some of this article here I read this morning. I was just flicking through the news this morning there, and I came across this article on GB News' website. It says here, social media personality Andrew Tate has hit out at his incantation, telling the fans that his prison cell is filled with cockroaches, lice and bed bugs. He was detained on December 29th in Bucharest, while his brother Tristan and the 2 Romanian women have also been arrested. On January 10th, a court was upheld judge ruling on December 30th to extend his arrest from 24 hours to 30 days. They have all denied the allegations have been put against them. The authorities in Romania also seized several of the former kickboxer's luxury cars from his Budapest property. In an email sent to his fans, his first since he was imprisoned, Tate said, "They're trying to break me, throw me into a cell without a light. Cockroaches, lice and bedbugs are only my friends at night. Boo-hoo. When the guards bring me to and from the courtroom, I stayed absolutely respectful towards them. They tried to pour hatred into my heart." It says here, the former kickboxer world champion has amazed millions of followers across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and TikTok. Despite being in prison, Tate's presence online has remained active, posting his email address online so that he can receive messages from his followers. If you're in jail, right? I'm trying to stop there. How can people still contact me? Okay, they write you a letter or something like that. But this guy's still allowed to have a contact online. He's in freaking jail. You know what I mean? And it says here, where are we now? I should have put my glasses on before I read this. He posted his online for his followers. It's not known whether the content posted on his account from him or by someone else on his behalf. Right, okay. They will remain in custody until the 27th of February. Andrew Tate. That's just some of the wee things in the long article. But if he is posting that from inside the jail, guys, you know what I mean? You shouldn't even be allowed to have outside contact on the internet. You know, you could be doing anything if you're allowed to do that. It's more likely, but as I said there in that article, obviously someone else posting it from the outside. But I'm sorry. When I first heard about this guy, you know, it was Brooke that brought it to my attention. And then when I went online one night having a look around, I saw him and it was kind of like, is this guy for real? I mean, I've had a lot of emails from you about it, the listeners about it. It's mixed feelings. Some of you say you like him. A lot of you say you don't like him. Me personally, I think he's an egotistical moron. That's just my opinion on it. If you don't like my opinion on it, then keep your own opinions to yourself. But I'm just giving you my opinion because this is my podcast. But the point is, you know, if he is found guilty of all these things that he's been doing, you know, is he going to get off with it? Like, that's just the thing about these celebrities. You know what I mean? These celebrities get away with friggin' murder all the time. And all these millionaires and billionaires get off with everything scot-free. And, you know, if it was like a me or Joe Blogs down the street, you know, we'd get hammered and get through in jail for God knows how many years. But this guy just seems to be very ego-driven and very full of himself, and that's just me being honest. And for what I've seen of him and what I've read on him, he does seem to think that sometimes the world spins around him. And people like that is a walking disaster in my eyes. Maybe you'll disagree with me on that, but if you do disagree with me, drop me an email or send me a message on social and let me know what you think about that, because I'd like to hear from you what you think about it. But at the end of the day, I mean, from what I'm reading here now, I mean, if he is obviously posting stuff online, I mean, why is he doing it from a jail? And if it's so bad that he said he's in this cell with these cockroaches and lights, and he still has access to the internet, is he saying this here just to try and get the pity party? And I don't know, the guy's an absolute moron, but that's just my views on it. So it is, but let me know what you think, guys, about this whole Andrew Tate situation. Drop me an email, mirrorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. Send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram what you think about it. And if some of you do get back to me over the next couple of days or so, I'll try and read some of them out on Thursday's podcast. It's just, I just don't know anymore. See these, they call them online influencers. I mean, people say to me all the time, you're an online influencer. I'm just a guy who makes videos on YouTube and does a podcast twice a week. You know what I mean? I'm just me. So, I just don't know. It's madness. So it is. But let me know what you think about it, guys. I don't know what to think. He's just, he's a clown. So he is. On to more bad news on the podcast today, guys. I've seen this pop up in the news over the last couple of days. 7 more dead in another California mass shooting. I mean, what is going on in California? They've had 3 mass shootings in the last 8 days after a man was shot dead. Several of his former co-workers in San Francisco. Now, there's been a lot of mass shootings recently in the United States, and it's so heartbreaking to see. I remember the one recently where the guy walked into the school and just opened fire on the school. I saw the actual CCTV footage on the news report that time where you seen one child stand at the bottom of the hall. You did see the guy walking into the school and you see him disappearing, and the next minute you just hear the gunfire. It is, what sort of people are, I mean, what gets people the motivation to do it? Do you remember the shooting a few years ago, guys, in Vegas at that concert where the guy, I don't know how the hell he done this, where he got all the guns into the hotel room and he shot outside the hotel window into the crowd of was it a country and western concert? And he killed a lot of people and then he killed himself. How he managed to get all the weapons they found in his room, how he managed to get that through and up all them and all the way up to the top of that hotel without even being stopped or noticed or whatever. These mass shootings is absolutely insane. Like, I mean, obviously here in Northern Ireland, you used to get all the mass shootings back in the days of the Troubles, where people were walking into pubs and bars and opening fire on, like, for example, people shooting in a Protestant bar, Catholic bar, whatever it was, like opening fire on both sides of the community. What goes through a person's mind to motivate them to walk in, especially to the likes of a school, and just open fire on kids and kill innocent people? I mean, I saw another video this morning online there, and how these videos are allowed to stay online is beyond me. In Chicago, where I seen an open shooting in the middle of the street, and the guy who shot the other person walked straight over to him and shot him again, and got into his car with his cronies and drove off. Like, what motivates people to do this? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that one I was talking about the school that time. The guy just walked in with a big rifle and just killed all those poor innocent children. It reminds me of a story back in the day. I think it was a school here in Northern Ireland. I think it was, where a guy walked into a school with a flamethrower and opened it up on all them kids. And that's just friggin' disgusting how anybody would in the right frame of mind would have the audacity to do that to innocent people. And again, going reading through this story this morning, the attacks took place in the coastal city half of Mumbai. The victims were all Chinese American farm workers. Oh, the guy who was the 67 was arrested after driving to a police station. Gee whiz, man. It's unbelievable. And again, it goes back to the hate crime. People from different walks of life, different communities. Growing up here in Northern Ireland, I saw it all the time, where during the Troubles where the Protestants and Catholics were obviously feuding each other. Recent times as well there, you saw at a football ground in Belfast where two men walked straight into a football club, social club during the day, open fire and walk back out again. But these mass shootings, like on innocent people, is just... It says the latest bloodshed to hit the state took place at two farms around the half Mumbai community. It's on mass shootings. Here's the thing, guys. Here's an interesting statistic for the United States as well. Mass shootings in the US are on the rise again. Okay? Between 2014, there was an average of 273 mass shootings a year. From 2020, there was 690. 2021, 647. And guess what? We're only in January 2023, and there's 39 mass shootings in America already. And the year has just begun. Like, what is going on in this world? People are getting access to guns easily, and they're just killing innocent people. And okay, most of them get arrested. Some of them end up turning the guns on themselves. But that's not the point. If they turn the gun on themselves, they're an even bigger coward, because they've killed all those innocent people who have lost their family members, a brother, a sister, a mum, a dad, a child, a son, a daughter, a grandfather, a grandmother, whatever. And for what? You know what I mean? Obviously, some people have a motive. But when I see things like that, it literally breaks my heart. It really, really does. I've seen it over the news over the last sort of week or so, all these mass shootings, and I'm sort of going to myself, what is going on with this world? This world is going bonkers. I mean, it's got worse since the whole COVID thing happened. The world just seems to be looped, wired to the moon. It's just completely going bonkers. All these different things that are happening with all these protesters and the cost of living and all the COVID scandal, and there's more of that crap coming out this week as well about Pfizer and all that nonsense. The world's just going absolutely friggin' boogaloo since about 2020. Okay, the world was obviously not great before then, but I mean, see, since all these lockdowns and everything, people are just losing their marbles and going out and doing stupid stuff. You know what I mean? It's just unreal. So it is unreal. Here, before we go on to the next subject, a lot of you have been sending me photographs of your shopping experience when you're out and you're seeing Harry's book. Should we even call him Prince Harry anymore? I was reading an article this morning online that apparently his book is flopping. It's not even hardly doing any sales. People are refusing to buy it because they see it as a book of drama, and they don't want nothing to do with it. So his book is failing, which is so funny to see. So, because he is a drama queen, and I don't want to talk about him again on the podcast for a while, but I seen it this morning. I was reading the article this morning. Apparently his book's flopping. So there you go. But here's another one. This is another one I want to talk about today on the podcast too as well. Strange one. State pension in the UK the state pension age is to rise within just weeks, with millions to work longer as ministers ignore official advice. Why am I not surprised with the government? Look at all the crap you've seen on the news over the last few days. The Prime Minister getting a £700 fine for not wearing a seatbelt. Then your man Starmer from Labour sitting mouthing off, and then he's doing the same thing, but he didn't get a fine. Then the former health minister, or what do they call that guy, is now being done for. They're all calling for his head because he had a £4 or £5 million tax bill. Then I found out this morning, no surprise, the BBC and Boris Johnson are is it some guy to do with the BBC and an £800,000 loan to Boris Johnson. Well, there you go. All the BBC scandal continues on more and more and more. It's all over BBC website and all this morning. I actually went onto their website this morning to have a nosy. And I saw Apparently I don't know, is it one of the chairmen or something of the BBC? Aye. There's it there. Just pulled up here on my laptop. Richard Sharp, BBC chairman, says he will not quit over Boris Johnson loan row. Why are BBC loaning Boris Johnson £800,000? Figure that one out. All these corrupt politicians, which I've been calling for the last 3, 4, 5 years. In my opinion, the Conservatives have sold us down the river. So they have. The amount of corruption that is coming out of all those ones who you saw on TV during the start of COVID lockdowns, where they were preaching to us with the BBC saying that we should be locked in our homes and blah, 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 and all these corruption things are all coming out now. You know what I mean? It's insane. It says the chairman of the BBC said he won't quit over the Boris Johnson loan row. He's accused of helping facilitate a loan to then the Prime Minister. Loan to the Prime Minister? £800,000? What was this, to decorate number 10 again, was it? Or what was that for? Was that for one of his foreign holidays on some exotic island with Carrie, where they're making more babies? What is going on? Seriously? You know, all this stuff's coming out. And again, go back to the story which I wanted to talk about the State Pension Age rise. Age to rise. It is insane. It says millions are... This is another article. I've wrote a few notes down here this morning. Told you I came prepared today. I'm on a roll today. The notes that I made here say millions are likely to have to work longer as ministers are set to raise the retirement age as early as March in the budget. Why am I not surprised? I've been saying this for a long time, that once this COVID malarkey starts to phase away, they'll start putting up prices of food, they'll start putting prices on electric, gas, oil, they'll make us work for longer. They'll start charging us for all the things that they never used to charge us for, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, when they want us to go and pay to go and see our doctor. Like, seriously, if you're going for a private operation, it's always been for pay for private, but we'll talk about that in a second. Everything seems to be going up since this whole nonsense. How do you think they're going to make their money back from all the people who sat on their ass during lockdowns with furlough and all the billions and billions of pounds that they got the country in debt? Do you think you're all getting that for free? I've been saying that for a long time. Everybody's got to pay it back somehow. Why do you think they raised the national insurance? Why do you think they raised the tax? This is how they're making their money back. Because people are switching on and realising that their wee farsy, crappy scams are not coming up, and this is how they're getting their money back. All those businesses that went bust over the last 2 or 3 years. I could talk about it all day, but in my opinion, the Tories have sold us down the river. And here, especially here in Northern Ireland. Apparently that Balloonhead Stormer was over here the other week, and he was rambling on about Northern Ireland this, Northern Ireland that. What's he going to do? He's just as bad. Why do you think I don't vote? But I've said this before in the podcast, I don't vote. And I never will vote. And people who are here say to me all the time, but if you don't vote because of the walk of life you come from, you're letting the other side get an advantage and all. Listen, I don't get involved in politics. Politicians are corrupt as anything. Absolutely corrupt as anything. Anytime they come to my door, can you vote for this one? Bye-bye. Close the door. Tell you another story. I was in Liverpool a couple of years ago, walking outside Lime Street Station, the big main station of Liverpool. And there was a load of Labour Party supporters standing outside with all their banners and picket signs and whatever else. Support Labour, vote Labour, blah, 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 blah. And they walked over to me and goes, Sir, can I have a moment of your time? And I was like, yeah, what is it? And he goes, oh, you're not a local Scouser? And I went, no, I'm not. Why, what is it? And he goes, well, we're trying to get votes for the Labour Party, blah, 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 blah. And I just looked at him and went, I don't support it because I'm from Northern Ireland and I live in Northern Ireland. And there was a girl who was standing beside him and looked at him and went, oh, right, that's Stormont, isn't it? And I went, yeah. And she goes, oh dear, it's a bit of a mess over there at the minute, isn't it? Me, don't even get me started. Why do you think I call it the circus at the top of the hill? And they just looked at me with a shocked look on their face, and I went, all the best, guys, and I walked away. Don't even get me started on over here at the minute. But honestly, I don't vote. I have no intentions of voting. I never will vote, because at the end of the day, it's my choice not to vote. I know a lot of people who don't vote either. But again, but yes, going back to the subject at hand, state pension age is going to be apparently raised here in the UK. They're wanting to raise it from 66 to 67. Sorry, the state pension age was already due to increase from 66 to 67 by 2028. and the next rise was not due until 2046. It should be brought forward, which would help the UK's struggling finances. So they're trying to put it up now. Seriously? They're going to have us working until we're like 90. But all them politicians are raking in hundreds and thousands of pounds a week. I was speaking to a guy yesterday who turned around and told me how much a local politician here in Northern Ireland is on a year. A local politician who he knows very, very well, and I know of as well, and the amount of money they get a week is frightening. Maybe I should get involved in politics. Could you imagine me standing up at Stormont, putting all them ones from DUP and Sinn Féin and SDLP and all them balloon heads all in their place? Where's the money going for this? Where's the money going for that? Why is the money not going here? Why is the money... I mean, I heard another interesting thing yesterday about the NHS, that apparently they're spending £47 million a year on a diverse campaign. But they're wondering why they've no bloody money. Really? You know me, guys. I don't care where you're from or who you are, or whether you're gay, straight, bi, woman, man, black, white, Chinese, Filipino, wherever you're from, I don't care. Everybody deserves an equal right in life. But when the government's saying that they're struggling for all this crap, but they're spending money on the biggest load of nonsense. Like in our saw in our video yesterday, it was doing the rounds on Facebook, where they were saying, they were saying during 2020 that the hospitals were freaking flooded with people who were struggling and were working 18, 19-hour shifts, but they're standing in the middle of the street dancing around doing TikTok videos and acting like balloon heads. You tell me. But now they're putting the state pension, make people work even longer. I don't know. The government is just... I'll probably get kicked off the air if I really spoke my mind, guys, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, going on to another balloon head as well, Savi Javid. He has now come out in the last week or so and said that patients should be charged for GP appointments and A&E visits. He says he called it the present model of the National Health Service is unsustainable. Former health secretary, that's what he was. Health secretary. He replaced your man, frickin' Mr. I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. Mr. Hancock, Mr. Don't go out the door, your nanny, and if you go out the door, you'll spread it to your granny, whatever it is, down the road, and you end up killing your granny and granny with COVID. But as soon as I step off this stage, I'm going to be behind the podium here, canoodling with some girl behind my wife's back. I'm going to sit on live TV and cry because the job was first released. Yeah. Then this guy who thinks he's Mr. Wonderful and then goes on to I'm a Celebrity and boo-hoos and cries and asks for forgiveness. I don't think so. Everybody in this life deserves a second chance, but people like that there who ruin people's livelihoods and businesses and whatever else does not deserve a second chance. My opinion. But anyway, this balloon head has now said that he's going to start, people should be paying to go and see their GP. Okay, so what about all those pensioners and those people who are struggling on benefits, who can't afford to basically scrape by at the minute because they can't afford to put electric and gas into their house or oil into their oil tank for their heating? Can't hardly afford to put food on the table. And this balloon head here is now saying that people should be paying to go and see their GP. Why do you think the NHS was set up? National Health Service. Yes, if you're going for an operation privately, which I see all the time, the likes of footballers, for example, go for private operations. Yes, that's fine. Pay for that. That money goes into the service. That's fine. But not everybody can do that. Not all the higher privileged, like these politicians and all, who have money coming out of their backsides, can do that. Like Joe Bloggs down the street, who's getting a minimum, like not even a minimum wage, who's, say, for example, unemployed and is getting whatever else, whatever benefit he's on, whether it be universal credit or job seekers allowance or whatever, and he's getting maybe what, £60 or £70 a week. When he's got put food on the table, say he's got a couple of kids, whatever, okay, yes, they make it something else, the likes of a tax credit or something like that. But the way they keep bragging on about this cost of living crisis. But say one of them people takes sick, severely sick in the house, and have to attend the doctors regularly. Or say, for example, someone has a really severely bad accident and is on, say, a person living on their own on job seekers allowance, what is it, £70 a week or whatever it is they're getting now. And they have to pay a fee to go and see their doctor just to sit in A&E to get something done. Say they broke their leg or whatever, or had a car crash or something like that. They got to go and pay. Is this guy for real? I understand the likes in the United States where you have to pay for your care, but a lot of people have health insurance where that's all covered for. I know down south in the Republic of Ireland you got to pay for your healthcare and stuff like that. And I understand as well here in the UK and Northern Ireland as well, if you're working you have to pay for your prescriptions and stuff like that, which is completely that's absolutely fine. But for the people who are out there who are genuinely like unwell or an old age pensioner or whatever, this clown is trying to get people to pay to go and see their GP. Like you get regular visits from like the local wee granny down the road who goes and sees her doctor once every so often because of her, I don't know, problems, whatever, such and such. And the doctor's now going to charge that poor wee woman or man money to go and, don't. Unbelievable. Like, what is this government coming to? Like, I was just reading that the other day about that, and I thought to myself, I'm going to talk about that in the podcast. Because that guy is an absolute balloon. So he is, a balloon. It's like, they're going to charge you now to go and see your GP? Really? I just don't know. Unbelievable. Guys, let me know what you think about some of them subjects we've talked about. And let me know what your situation is. Now, if you obviously don't want to be named, say you have a situation where, say, for example, you are unemployed or whatever your situation is, you don't want to be named, but you want to get your situation out there and obviously talk about these subjects, like, for example, the GP, the A&E, or if you're going to be retired or whatever, let me know what you think about the rise in all these costs and things like that. It's amazing. Drop me an email, moorarmypodcast@yahoo.com. I'd love to hear from you. I really would love to hear from you. It just baffles me, these people. It really, 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 really does. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself as well, how these people can get away with it. And they're going around there like the sun shines out of their backside. And it just seems nothing baffles me now. I'm not a big news watcher anymore anyway, because of all the crap that they fed us during COVID and stuff, but I don't know. The world's going mad. The world has gone bloody mad. So it has. Right, I'm going to move away from negativity and I'm going to get into some questions, because at the end of the day, guys, I just wanted to bring up some of those subjects today. I don't know. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm going to get into some of your emails, Instagram messages, etc. now. So, once again, guys, if you are wanting to get in touch with the show, drop me an email, moorarmypodcast@yahoo.com, Instagram, official Matthew Moore, and on Facebook, which is the Moore Army YouTube channel on Facebook. Drop me a message. Let's talk about anything you want to talk about. It's just these last couple of days, honest to God, when I see all these different stories popping up, it's just like, what is going on with the world? I don't know. Crazy. Anyway, let's get into some of your emails. I've actually selected a couple here and I've highlighted. I told you I came prepared today, guys. I've come on this podcast today. I'm on fire today. I'm ready to talk, and I'm ready to... It's a pity this is not the Unleashed podcast where I could sort of say some more things that I normally don't. But, hey-ho. Right, let's get into some of your emails here. Okay, I've got one actually. First of all, sorry, I've accidentally closed down the bloody email here. Tell you what I'll do while it's re-uploading again. I'll go onto the Facebook fan page first here to have a look here and see. Right, I've got one here from Kieran Gilmartin. I remember reading this the other day. He sent me this the other day saying, what do you think of this video, Matthew, which was uploaded a couple of years ago? Would you have done the same thing with your boy if he'd stepped out of line? With our parents done the same? Great discussion for the podcast. It was actually a video he sent me the other day of a young lad in England who literally went into a local store and acted the fool, played up, and was cheeky to the staff, was nasty to people outside the store, and the video contained his dad actually taking him back to the store, embarrassed the young lad, made him apologise to everybody, and basically reprimanded and punished him. And this guy, Kieran, wanted to know, would I do the same thing? You damn right I would. This is the problem I have with the world right now when it comes to young ones. especially the likes of teenagers who get away with bloody murder these days. Now, Kieran, you brought up a good thing to talk about now, because there's a lot of parents who listen to my podcast, and I'm going to say this because I get a lot of people all the time asking me, how lucky I am to have my kids being so good. What did I have struggles? Because I'm a single dad. I've brought up my kids, it'll be 10 years now, this 10 years this year, on my own. So people have asked me if I ever had struggles or times where the kids have stepped over the line, whatever. Okay, all kids, no kids are angels, no kids have halos over their head and stuff like that. But I've noticed in the last couple of years, especially the last 5, 6, 7 years, kids nowadays get away with murder. And this is totally honest, me being totally honest. And I watched that video again. I remember seeing that video a couple of years ago, where this guy took his son back to that store and made a complete ass out of him, embarrassed him, made him apologise to the people who worked there, anybody who was cheeky to or nasty to him, and then he reprimanded the young boy by punishing him and grounding him and things like that. And this is where I think today young ones get away with murder, where they walk around and they think the world owes them everything, and they get away with murder, and to be honest with you, some of their parents out there don't give a damn, and they let them get away with it. And again, I wish it was the Unleashed podcast, because I could say a bit more. If my 2 children get on like that, they would be done the same. For example, say they were being disrespectful to someone at their own home, I would take them back to that house or shop or wherever it is they caused the problem. I would make a complete ass out of them. I would make them apologise. Then when they apologise, they would be brought home. Their mobile phones would be gone for good. Then all their other things, whether it be gaming consoles or TVs or whatever, all removed from their bedroom. And all their luxuries would be gone, taken away and locked away. They would be grounded, depending on obviously how serious the problem that they done. If it was a really severe, serious situation where, say, for example, police were involved or whatever, yes, then I would seriously punish them to the highest degree of, I'm talking, not just a couple of days of grounding, which really annoys me sometimes whenever you see these young ones getting away with murder nowadays. Really grinds my gears sometimes when I see that, because sometimes a child goes out and does something really, really extreme and they get grounded for a day or two and get their phone taken off them, and then they get handed back to them and sent off on their merry way. Because teenagers nowadays, or young ones, hang their parents out to dry because of social media, telling tattletales, posting stuff online, telling lies. I mean, I've seen stuff before where young ones have been online and posted saying, my mummy and daddy are treating me unfair, and they're being nasty to me, and they're not treating me right, and blah, 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 blah. And then the next minute, police are involved, social services are involved, and when they get to the house, it's just the child being a complete wee arse, and all to get attention because they can get away with murder. And this is where the world of social media is a nightmare as well when it comes to young ones. But, and going back to what I would do, my Burke and Lewis would be reprimanded, and I mean punished. Now, you're not talking like a week grounding or a couple of days. I'm talking, if it was, like, say, on a scale of 1 to 10, if it was like a level 8 or 9 or 10, it would be a couple of months of grounding, severe punished, no phones, no TV, no internet, no friends, and they would be punished. Just the way I was when I was younger. My dad would have whipped my ass. I'm not being honest. My dad would have grounded me. So he would have. My dad would have grounded me. So he would have. For a long time. And back then there was no mobile phones. There was no internet. All I had in my bedroom back in the day was maybe if I was lucky sometimes, a small, tiny TV, a radio, and whatever else I had there. And I was not I'm telling you now, this is where the young ones nowadays don't know they're living, with all their smart TVs and their tablets and their phones and their social media accounts and everything else. And go and watching that video that Kieran had sent in to me to watch. Yes, I would do exactly the same. And there's a lot of parents out there who listen to my podcast, and I would encourage the parents to contact me and let me know what you would do. But again, I'll give you an example. Over the last couple of years, as I've mentioned in my vlog many a time, where I've had trolls attacking my home, trolls attacking my kids because they think it was funny, I've actually had to prosecute young ones, and when it gets to either the youth justice court or the main court, half their parents have walked in, don't give a damn, and they just sit there and they go, my wee Billy or my wee Davy or whatever wouldn't do that, nah, but they've been caught. And I guarantee you now, after they've been prosecuted and punished by the Youth Justice Service or the courts or whatever, their mums and dads will have them back out in the streets again in no time at all, and they get away with murder. And this is where now it's a vicious circle now, where these ones are growing up now thinking the world owes them. They walk around with their hands sticking out going, I want this, I want that. Luckily enough, my kids don't do that, because I have it, should I say, not even drilled into their heads, sort of planted in their heads, that knowing that they want something in life, they have to work for it, and to be respectful towards their elders. For example, every time someone calls to our door, like for example, delivering a takeaway or a parcel or a letter or whatever, or somebody calls to the door, my kids, because they've been brought up with certain standards, like for example, the other day a parcel was delivered, Lewis opened the door and I heard Lewis clear as day, he goes, thank you very much, have a good day. And I've always said that to my kids, and this is where these ones nowadays really piss me off. The way they walk around like they think the world owes them, and the world spins around them, and they think they can get away with murder, and they've no respect towards elders or police services or authority figures or whatever. And this is where old school discipline needs to be brought back into place. And I'm not talking about kicking their ass or whatever. All kids need a good kick up the backside now and again, or a clip around the ear or whatever. But at the end of the day, these young ones nowadays, like you see in that video that Kieran had sent me, they need to be taught a lesson that, hang on here, the world doesn't spin around you. This is not all about you. You need to grow up with some respect and manners. Because it's not even that, guys. I always have a saying that if two numpties get together and have a baby, they create another numpty, who then goes out and meets another numpty with the same sort of standards, because that's all they're used to. Then they create another baby and create another numpty. And it's just a vicious circle. It's like, for example, where I grew up in Belfast. I think I've talked about this before in the podcast, where I grew up in Belfast. I grew up as a Protestant boy in Belfast. Now, I've said this many times. I've got many Catholic friends. I have no issues with the other side of the community at all. Even when I lived up there, I had never had an issue at all. A lot of people disagree with me, but where I used to live in Belfast, I used to hear my friends' parents saying to them all the time, I don't want to catch you talking to Catholics. Stay away from them. Don't go near them. They're scum. They're this, they're that, which I think's wrong. And then they're growing up thinking that, and then they're going and having kids of their own, and they're telling their kids the same, and it just goes through generation after generation. It's always about setting an example. And what that guy does in that video is set an example to his son in that video, that you cannot get on like a jackass. You will not get on like a jackass. And if you get on like a jackass, then you're going to be punished. And even when you become an adult, if you do it again, you'll end up either in jail or you'll end up somewhere else because you didn't pay attention. And this is why it happens now today, because these young ones are constantly getting away with it. And I do blame the court system as well, because they're letting them away with it over and over and over. Like, for example, when I was going for my custody battle for my kids years ago, I was going to the court once a week, and the amount of young ones were standing outside, chewing their faces out, I like to call it, because they're all in the party all night the night before, standing with their Burberry hats on, going, I don't see it all again, mate, not gonna get that. They're out there joyriding, possession of drugs, arrested for fighting with the police, whatever it is they're up to, and they're getting smack on the wrist and sent down the road. Where I think they should be putting the foot down and punishing them more and teaching them a lesson to grow up with more morals, more respect, show respect to your elders, etc., etc. So, sorry for ranting on a little bit more, guys, but at the end of the day, that video that Kieran sent me, it showed you this young lad who obviously was being a bit of a tool at a local store, and his dad basically took him back and went, you're not going to go on like that. You apologise to them people now, and I want to kick your ass and grind you for a long time. Like, it's, in closing, give you another story. Where I grew up in Belfast back in the day, it was like, say for example, you were out in the street and somebody came out and tried to chase you away. Say you're playing football in a no ball games area, and a person came out and went, hey, you go and take that ball around your own door. And I was to turn around to that person and go, aye, F off, you, whatever. They would come out and kick your ass, right? Then they would take you to your parents' house where your parents opened the door and they told your parents what you'd done, and then your parents would kick your ass as well. Or, for example, back in the day, this is where I feel so sorry for police officers nowadays dealing with these young ones. Back in the day, you used to have them old police vans around Belfast. They were called meat wagons or Land Rovers, whatever they were called. I used to see policemen dragging boys into there and beating the absolute tar out of them because they're throwing things at their vans or being disrespectful. Then the police, after whipping their ass, took them back to the house, and then their parents kicked their ass as well. And I'm not all about whipping ass for kids and stuff like that. There, yes, kids need a good kick up the bum sometimes, or a wee clipper in the ear. Here, you knock it in the head, wind your neck and stop being disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. And this is where I thank God that my kids are okay, that have their moments, but I'm glad my kids have the right mentality because they've been brought up correctly. And I would hate to think that they ever done anything wrong, because they're not angels and there's no chance at all. But I'm lucky the way my two kids are, because they've got good work ethics and they work hard. For example, Brooke has a job. She goes to college. She goes to school. She's going to be a classroom assistant, which is great. Lewis, 13 years of age, an Irish League photographer. He's also switched on about building stuff and building computers and just being so digitally switched on compared to most young lads at 13, 14 years of age are out smoking pot and out drinking underage and all. Lewis doesn't do that. No. No, Lewis doesn't do it. Lewis wants to go and do his photography. Lewis wants to come to work with me on a Saturday. Lewis wants to do things that, the things that I used to do when I was 13, stay out of trouble. But this is where the young ones nowadays just get away with murder. And this is where a lot of them now need to be taught a lesson and told, see this world you're standing on doesn't spin round you. So, Kieran, thanks for your message. I appreciate it. Sorry for the rant, guys, but that really did sort of... What's the word I'm looking for? When I watched it the other day, I remember seeing it right away, and I thought to myself, yep, I want to answer that on Facebook for him, because it was an interesting thing. And fair play to that guy for taking his son back and making him apologise, because that's the way it should be. Kids need to be taught from an early age that the parents are the boss of the home, and this is another thing that grinds my gears, the way kids try to, what I call, rule the roost, where they think that they are the boss of the house, and some parents out there let their kids do it, which I think's wrong. No child should rule the house. The parents. I remember the first time when Brooke was coming along, when Brooke's mum was pregnant with her, I remember saying to Brooke's mum, we need to have an agreement here about this child. We need to sort of start teaching he or she, before they came along, that from the start, that we're the boss, we're the parents. From day one, you need to make the child realise that, there's rules of the house, there's boundaries, there's this, there's that. It's only a baby and all, she used to say to me. And then one time when the health visitor came out, it was just before Brooke was born, and they said, I always tell this to all young mums and dads when the first baby comes along, always teach your child from day one that you are the boss, not the other way around. I see it all the time when I'm out in the shops, and the likes of toy stores, Tesco's, Asda, wherever I am, and I see all these ones walking around, kids screaming, mums and dads letting them away with murder. Not a chance. So, fair play to him, that guy in that video. I respect him for it. And this is where these kids nowadays think the world's spinning around them. I'm sorry, and I get a lot of young listeners too. If you're listening to me going, he's full of nonsense, you'll understand yourself when you get kids yourself when you're older, if you have any kids. Because at the end of the day, kids are hard work. Especially when you're a single parent. I've had some hard times with my kiddies, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And I get it all the time this day saying, you still bringing your kids up on your own? Yeah. Wouldn't change it. So there you go. Right, let's go on to the emails. Sorry for ranting. It's just with that video. Respect to that guy. I applaud him. I really do. Fair play to him. I really, really do. Applaud him for that. So I do. So, right, let's go on to another one here. Okay, I've got a first email here from Heidi. Is it Heidi? H-E-I-D-I? Heidi? Yes, Heidi. Hello, Heidi. How are you? Last time, Heidi? I keep thinking Heidi High, the old TV show back in the 80s. Heidi High, or Heidi. Heidi is a girl. That's a girl's name, Heidi. Heidi wants to know, hi Matthew, been watching your YouTube channel for quite a long time. Thank you, appreciate it. Just wanted to know, I know Lewis has his own gaming channel, and I know you've popped up in one of his recent videos. Would you ever consider putting gaming videos back on your channel like you did back in 2018? Okay. I'm a big gamer myself. I know you may laugh at me because I am in my late 30s, but I don't care. I love my games. I recently started playing WWE. Okay, fair enough. Also, I play a lot of Call of Duty and more. Would you ever consider putting gaming videos on your channel again? Okay, Heidi. I wish I had the time. I did have the time for a while. I do want to put more videos up. I really, really do. I've been wanting to, but just since the last couple of months especially, I have just been chock-a-block. You probably noticed yourself, the vlogs haven't been as regular as well. And I would love to. Lewis has asked me to come on to his channel a couple of times. I think I've been on it once with him. And it's just getting the time, Heidi, to do it. It's just lately I have been so busy. And again, I want to focus more on my YouTube channel. But you know what it's like whenever you're busy on your personal life and you're trying to balance it, and it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. Oh, it's just one thing after another. So I will try my best. And I'm not laughing at you for playing games, because I still play games. I play FIFA every year, Call of Duty, WWE games. They've announced another one coming out here soon as well. So yeah, I'll try. I will try. So thank you for all your support. You said you're a long time watcher of the channel, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your support, and I'll try. That's all I can say to you is right now, Heidi, is I'll try. I will try my best. I really, really will. Right, let's go on to another one here. Right, one here from Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte. So Charlotte wants to know, or Charlotte has wrote me an email saying, sorry, hi Matthew, hope you're keeping well. I was going to write you an email a few months ago when you were talking about the TV license situation, but I decided not to, as I didn't want to embarrass myself. I have had a few run-ins with the BBC in big bold letters, and in brackets as well, over the TV license scandal, and also about the other lockdowns and stuff like that, as I have a friend who lives nearby me here in Halifax. Okay, so you're from Halifax in England, who works for the BBC. We've had many rows and debates over the last few years in relation to all the nonsense that they put on TV during lockdowns, etc., etc. I was fined £1,000 by TV licence people. Oh my God. Because I refused to pay my TV licence, even though I don't have Sky, Freeview, or live TV in my home. I have one television in my living room, which I only use Amazon and Netflix. Gee whiz. I was fined £1,000 last September in court by the BBC for not having a TV licence. I am currently in the middle of an appeal with the BBC over this £1,000 fine. Also, an elderly lady down the road in my local village was also fined £1,000, even though she doesn't have a TV at all in her property. Please can you shine some light on this with your fellow listeners, as I know this really makes you angry. I love your YouTube channel, have been supporting it now since lockdown 2020, where I came across your toilet roll keep you up challenge. Oh, okay. The toilet roll keep you up challenge, God, that was a while back. Keep up the good work. Love you and your family. Tell your daughter I think she's absolutely beautiful. Tell your son he's a great kid, and I see his photographs on your Instagram now and again. Keep up the good work. All the best. My God, what an email. £1,000. Really? Where do I start with this? You have, was it one TV in your house, and you don't even have Sky, Freeview or whatever, and you don't have live TV in the church? What? And you said an elderly lady was fined as well for not having a license, even though she doesn't have a TV in her house? What on God's green earth is going on with this world? Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, make sure you fight that appeal. I would. What is going on? Like, I don't even know what to say. I really don't. I'm speechless. For the first time ever on this podcast, I'm speechless. Oh, these people will not leave people alone. I've seen more. I've been on TikTok more recently as well, guys. Or at the weekend, I was on TikTok on Saturday, or browsing through some stuff, and I saw more of them bloody TV license videos. Like, what is going on with this government? And especially the fact that they're harassing old age pensioners. I just don't know what to say. Oh, these people really grind my gears. They really, really do. It's shocking how some people are being treated. Thank you for supporting the channel, by the way, as well. I do appreciate it. You were saying you found us the Keep You Up challenge, the Tort Rule, Keep You Up challenge, Lewis and I done during the lockdown. I just don't know what to say. Make sure you fight that case. £1,000 fine? Really? One TV in your house, you don't have Sky, you don't have Freeview, you don't watch live TV, you watch just the likes of Amazon and whatever else, and this goons come round to your door and because you got a TV, we're taking to court and you got £1,000 fine? Okay. What, can they not check that up, the fact that you don't watch live TV? Or can they not be barred just they just want to get money off you? Guys, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I really, really don't know what to say. I'm legitimately shocked. If this was the Unleashed podcast, I'm telling you now, I'd be raising hell and ripping ass all over the place and shouting and screaming down the microphone like a lunatic. I'd probably thrown the microphone across the room. These people are just making me so angry. I get emails all the time, guys, from people about the TV license and about the BBC and all the lies and the corruption and all different walks of life, how people were affected about the lockdowns and everything else. I know I'll talk about COVID again, but you know, I get people messages with their mental health and all too as well. People ask me not to share their stories, and I don't. There's certain stories I wouldn't share out of respect to people, because people keep asking me not to share the stories because they don't want to be, you know, have their story shared because they are struggling or they're going through a bad time in their life. And when I get emails like that all the time, or Instagram messages or Facebook messages saying that our videos keep people sane, and, you know, and I get an email like that just makes me... I hope you get sorted. I really do hope you get your appeal through. And if you do, keep in touch with me. I'll actually email you back when I get off this podcast today. I'm baffled. I really am baffled how these people can get on like that. Really does make my teeth itch. Guys, I do videos on YouTube for fun and to build a community here with listeners on the podcast and everything else. And when I get emails like that and get emails from different people from all different walks of life, whether it's ex-military or people who are struggling with mental health issues or whatever, and I see all these different stories all the time, and people send me all the time to watch our videos just to get them through the day. And then people like that there who I've just read their email out saying that they're getting fined for watching TV. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it just shows to show you how much power you have behind a microphone talking on a podcast, or, you know, in front of a camera on YouTube. That email's just baffled me. Hope you get sorted. I'll send you an email after the podcast today. So, well, that's just really pushed my buttons. Oh, I don't know. Nightmare. Let's get on to another one, guys, before I go down the road today. Oh, crazy. Anyway, let's get on to another one here. One more email from Bianca. Hello, Bianca. How are you? Thanks for the email. I appreciate it. Not a female's emailing today. Great. Bianca, how are you? Thanks for the email. It says here, Matthew, I know you are currently divorced. Would you ever consider getting remarried again? I know you've had a couple of relationships over the last few years. Would you ever consider getting remarried again? Would love to see you finally settled and happy, as you know you've had a bit of bad luck over the last 10 years especially. Take care. All the best. Love your videos and the podcast. Keep up the good work, Bianca. Bianca, thank you very much for the email. Appreciate it, darling. Whatever, get married again? That is the $1 million question. I get asked this all the time on social media. Have you got a new girlfriend yet? Have you got a girlfriend yet? You know, what's the situation with you, Matthew? I'm like, whatever. I look at some of the messages and sort of go, yeah, whatever. And then some of them think about it and go, no. Guys, at this present time, I am still on my own. I don't have a partner. I am single. I do not bother with anyone. I have a load of female friends. I was actually at a dinner party a few weeks ago. I'll tell you an Norway story. I was at a dinner party there about a month ago on the outskirts of Belfast. I was up seeing some friends. They had their wives there and whatever else, and I was the only single guy there, and I had a couple of their wives went outside to get a bit of fresh air because the house was a bit warm, and two of the wives came out and they were like, "Oh, Matthew, would you ever consider getting yourself a new girlfriend?" And I just went, "No, I have no interest right now." And they were like, you can't let your past relationships keep you down. The usual spiel, you know, you can't be on your own forever and all, and blah, 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 blah. And then another one kept asking me would I ever get back with Sandra, and blah, 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 blah. And I just went, guys, honestly, at this present time right now, it's the last thing I'm thinking about right now, because when my relationship ended a lot of months, almost a year ago, that really knocked me for six. And I don't have an interest right now in even attempting to find anybody. I'll make new friends, male and female, and it's nice to meet new people and all, but nah, no interest. Guys, at the moment, you know, would I ever like to be married again? I was asked the question. Would I like to be married again? Absolutely. Would I ever get married again? Yeah, if the right person came along and it was the right circumstances and everything was good. Yes, of course, but at the moment, I have just no interest, because when you put so much of an effort into something like a relationship, whatever, and then it's ripped away in a blink of an eye, it breaks you, it hurts you. And for a long time, guys, and I'll be honest with you here, this is the first time I've actually said this public. For a long time, when I was married, I never spoke about how I felt, about feelings. I kept everything bottled in and never expressed anything, and that's a reason why I think my marriage was so bad at times, because, not that I'm blaming myself on all of it, but as you get older, you learn more and you feel differently, and you just sort of think to yourself, what is this? What's going on here? I was never like that, because I'll be honest with you guys, when I was younger, I was stubborn. Like, see if you'd have saw me, if I'd have been you making YouTube videos back and say, even around about the time when Lewis was born in 2009, 2010, if I'd been making YouTube videos back then, you'd have saw a completely different person than what you see me now. I've learned so much, especially over the last 10 years since my marriage ended, and then I got divorced and everything else, and then being in another relationship for 3 years, and then my last relationship for over 2 years, and you learn yourself. And then, but certain people come into your life for a reason. My last relationship really knocked me for six, because I thought that was me settled again, and that was me on the right road to getting, the whole package what I wanted, and being settled down again, and hopefully get married one day and whatever else. And it never happened. So Bianca's asked me would I ever get married again. If the right person came along, probably. If not, then so be it. People, them girls were asking me, am I scared to get back into a relationship again? Yes and no, because I don't want to get too involved again and start focusing on that, and then the next minute I get hurt again, and then back at square one again. That's why I take every day as it comes now, guys. But in saying that, there, I could walk out of here today and go over to the shopping centre or whatever, or out doing my shopping next week or whatever, and could be walking down the aisle in my trolley or whatever and bump into someone, and that could be my next wife. You just don't know. It happened to a friend of mine. They're married over 20 odd years now. So you never know. But people keep saying to me, well, do you get yourself a girlfriend, go out dating again, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I've met up with people recently and all for coffees and having that there, and have friends, and I'm trying to make new friends. I'm trying to meet new people, and I think I've said this before, I keep my circle very, very small. Where it's just me, my brother, my mum and dad, myself and the two kids. And obviously I've got acquaintances and people who I know and whatever else, and then old friends from years ago, which I don't really see that often, but I don't really have regular people who I'm associating around these days, because it's just obviously people will grow up and get older, and people go and do their own thing, and most people I know are either married or taken or got kids or whatever. And at the minute, it's just sort of me on my own, and I just sort of patter about and do my own thing and do my job and go to work on a Saturday and go to football and spend time with the kids whenever I get a chance, because they're doing their own thing mostly. But maybe one day, we'll see. But at this present time, after what happened recently the last year or so, it really knocked me for six, and I just can't see myself with anybody else at the minute, honestly, because I was really, really happy, and it was taken away. But times, as the old saying goes, time's a healer. And I thought after my marriage it ended, I'd never be with anybody else again, but you never know. But thanks for your email. From one extreme where I'm ranting about teenagers to a soppy ending to the emails. This is why I love the podcast. But yeah, maybe one day. We'll see. I'm 41 now. I always thought to myself when I got married when I was 23. I thought, when I'm in my 40s, I'm going to be married like 20 odd years, and I'm going to have kids and a home and a car and money in the bank and the whole 9 yards. I did have all that at one point, but then it was all taken away. And it's just like sometimes I sort of like look up at the sky to the big man upstairs and go, are you being real, big man? Like, are you trying to test me here? Like, or are you trying to make me go through all this crap till the right one finally comes along? You know what I mean? So, and I thought the last one was the right one, and I was really, really, really happy in that last relationship. I mean, I was extremely happy, and then it was all just ripped away again. So, one of those things. But thanks for your email, appreciate it, and that's going to wrap us up for the emails for today, guys. So, on a bit of an emotional note, and the Valentine's Day is just around the corner too as well. So, yeah. That's another. And speaking of Valentine's Day, I've got some Valentine's Day stories I'm going to tell you on. I think the podcast is actually on. Let me double check what day Valentine's Day falls on this year. Let me have a look here and see. Valentine's Day falls on the Tuesday. So in 3 weeks' time, the podcast will be a Valentine's Day special. Oh, lovely. I got some Valentine's Day stories for you this year, trust me. Oh, believe me, I've got Valentine's Day stories for you. Oh, I have some ones with me, trust me. Trust me, I have some really good ones. So I have. But hey ho. Right, that is going to wrap us up for this week on the Moore Army podcast. Well, this Tuesday's edition of the podcast. Stay tuned for Thursday's podcast, where I can take my chains off and the duct tape off my mouth, where I can sort of rant a bit more and talk a bit more. But before I do go, guys, just to remind you again, if you want to get in touch with the podcast, you can certainly do as always. Moore Army Podcast at yahoo.com. Also, you know the social media links by now. Instagram, official Matthew Moore. Moore Army YouTube on the old Facebook. And finally, if you want to get some of your merch and stuff like that, hopefully by Thursday this website will be fixed. Thank God. MooreArmy.co.uk for all your merch, all the old previous videos, and much more. And don't forget, if you're listening to us here on YouTube as well, don't forget to hit subscribe. And guys, I will have news next week about us moving on to the likes of TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and more. We'll talk about that before Christmas. We were trying to get ourselves on the more platforms. Also, hopefully on the SoundCloud too as well. We're going to try and get all the podcast episodes put over there as well. Try and get ourselves on more platforms. So we'll be on that Google Home and Alexa and whatever else. So we'll be on those very, very soon. As I said to you, the guy who was helping me do all the technical stuff behind the scenes is now obviously had to step aside because of his work commitments, his family and stuff like that, which is completely understandable. There's not much more you can do about it. So at the minute, it's a one-person production. So yes, me, myself, and I. Not me, myself, and Ari, like the Jim Carrey movie. It's a great movie. Me, myself, and I. So there you go. Guys, I'm going to go night on the road here. So once again, thank you for all your support during the podcast today. Thank you for listening. Do appreciate it. You want to get in touch with me, I can certainly get back to you. But replying to some of your Instagram messages over the weekend too as well there. So a lot of these were coming back saying thank you for responding to them. Not a problem at all. I'm going to try and get a bit more time to do it. In fact, before I do go tonight, guys, you probably remember a couple of weeks ago, October, I done a podcast in tribute to my friend who passed away, Frankie Wilson, ex-football manager here in Northern Ireland, very good friend of mine. I talked about him on the podcast. A podcast done very big numbers, especially on the likes of Spotify too as well, where I talked about my friend who unfortunately passed away of cancer in his early 50s. My old football club I used to work for, Bangor Football Club, are playing the club that Frankie used to manage as well, Banbridge Town, tonight at Bangor's ground, and Lewis and I are going to possibly get along to that tonight. So we're going to do a vlog at that tonight, guys. So I just want to go along. I know obviously I left Bangor on sort of bad terms and stuff like that, but because Frankie was a very close personal friend of mine, they're doing a free admission to the game tonight, but they're also taking donations at the gate for the charity that helped treat Frankie during his cancer treatment. And obviously the family's heavily involved in that as well. So both clubs who Frankie both managed will be doing that wee thing for him tonight. So I think we're going to go along to that there and support it. You know, obviously I have my differences with Bangor Football Club, obviously because of the time I left, because of the way I was treated by certain individuals. Not them all, but certain individuals. But I want to go along tonight because obviously Frankie was a very close personal friend of mine, and obviously I want to go along and support the charity and help gain money for the treatment that helped people, especially Frankie when he was going through his treatment. So we're heading there tonight, Lewis and I. So we're going to do a vlog at that tonight, and it's going to be a bit of an emotional night, but I'm going to watch a bit of football too as well, which is good. So, and it's only down the road, so I might as well go to a good cause. But anyway, guys, I'm going to head down the road here now, so get this podcast out. So once again, thanks for all your support. Stay tuned for more vlogs coming up on the YouTube channel this week. We're going to do more vlogs this week. Stay tuned for those. And until Thursday, guys, until the Unleashed podcast, hope you enjoy your Tuesday and Wednesday. And I will see you back here on Thursday for another episode of the Moore Army podcast. Till then, guys, see you down the road. Thanks for listening.